Are we live? I think we are live. All right. What's up, guys? Canadian Guy here, and welcome back to yet another Spyro Yap Sesh. Except this is the Yap Sesh that we want to have, because the other previous Yap Sessions, we've wanted to have those, but that was talking and speculating. Now we're here. Now we can. Actually, hold on. We got a few minutes that we got to quickly, give me a few minutes here just to get finished setting up as everyone comes in and we get settled in. You know, it's going to be, we're going to be streaming for about an hour, maybe two, depending. I see Headline Games. It's been way too long. It has been way too long. It's been way, way, way too long. And I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still doing my thing. I'm still talking about Spyro. And actually, I wanted to say too, we are close. We are very close. We skyrocketed in subscribers and we're already almost to 89,000 subscribers. Okay. We have been just going. We've been just climbing a mountain. And we're going to get back to the unscheduled schedule, which is basically when it's done, it goes live schedule. Because as you guys know, I've been posting stuff typically on Thursdays, maybe Fridays, sometimes Monday. You know, it's kind of a loosey-goosey schedule, but there was typically a rhythm and flow, 1 or 2 uploads a week. Now we're back to the chaos schedule, which is, hey, when it's done, it goes live. And the only schedule that we're following is if I'm under NDA or if we finish the video at 2 a.m., and we'll have it go live at 10 o'clock in the morning, whatever. We're back to chaos schedule. So, all right. So, give me a second here. I got a few things I got to do. Because I got to set up again the alerts for donations and stuff, because I do not want to miss anything, because I know that I missed some donations yesterday and I felt awful. I felt terrible because there were donations coming in so fast, and I was just like, I knew I was missing some and I was trying to pull some up. We already got one in. You're not going to hear the alert on it, but I will read it. Just give me 1 second. Let me get this set up and we shall begin. And I'm going to be starting actually with not an apology, but a clarification, because some people have been taking it to social media saying some not so great things about me about it already. And I remember saying that I didn't want this to happen, and it kind of happened because I didn't clarify something, and because I didn't clarify something, it happened. And so people are going off and saying some not so great things. So I want to come on here and I want to clarify those things. So, okay. So we got our Twitch, we got our YouTube. I think we got the alerts going. Hopefully we will hear those hopefully we'll be able to hear those in a second.
Share it in the Discord.
Yeah, I still got to send the alert. Thank you, sweetie.
I was like, yeah, you need to do it. Hi,
Yep.
everybody.
Yep. We got our first donation from Night Shadow 0089, $7 through Canadian through Super Chat. Thank you so much. With what we saw in the trailer yesterday, do you think any of the OG characters will return? Do you think it'll be anything like the OG3? I will get to that today. I will talk about that today, and there's going to be more information that I'm going to be holding back a little bit until I release a video, because I've been skimming and reading everybody's comments, and I've been skimming and looking for everybody's stuff. And it has been, there's a lot of stuff that is being reported, but there's some stuff that hasn't been reported yet. So I'm going to be going over some of the stuff that's been reported, some stuff I'm going to expand upon a little bit, among other things. Give me 1 second here. Okay, I just got a really lovely message from one of my moderators that I'm going to have to respond to after the fact. We got our first Streamlabs donation. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, we got this already. Hold on. Okay. Dreadnought donated $10 through Streamlabs. Thank you so much. And then we got a $1 Streamlabs donation from Nick Joseph. Hey, my bro, we've done it, waited for so long, and I'm excited to talk about our purple lad today, about his upcoming new game and coming next year. Just want to say hi before the stream gets started. Let's go! Thank you! Headline Games! An old supporter of mine donated $20 through Super Chat. I'm glad to have been, I'm glad you've proven to the world that Spyro 4 is on the way. I won't lie, even I was starting to believe it wasn't true. It wasn't until TFB went independent that it changed my thoughts. Love the trailer, so excited. Thank you so much! Okay. Also, I think I may have made the volume on the donation alerts maybe just a smidge too loud. Let me fix that one more time. See, these Yap sessions are a little bit more loosey-goosey. We're a little bit more just, relaxed. We're not as crazy. But there is something that I do want to talk about. Sketching J. Okay, donate $5. Been watching you for 8 years since your vid on the 3 Canon Spyros. You got me into the series when I was 16, and I thank you for that. Oh, that's awesome! Thank you so much for the support and the $5. That is incredible. I would say that was probably my first biggest video was the all 3 Spyros are canon. That was my first my first bigger video that kind of caught a lot of people's attention was that. And man, I wish that they would stop moving the alerts and changing the things, because it was fine the way it was before. They're like, let's make it better. And then they make it worse. And then they're like, let's make it better. And then they somehow make it worse. I'm like, can you just stop touching it? Just leave it as is. Or if you're going to change the look of it, put it in the same place and not move it around like it's some piece of furniture that you have in your house. Can you stop doing that? That would be fantastic. Okay. Once again, thank you so much, Sketching J. Okay. And I still gotta share the bloody thing. Goodness gravy, me oh my. You can tell that I am so well organized. Now, I also want to let you guys know that we are going to be having weekly Saturday morning shows of the Spyro Yap Sesh for about an hour each week, where I talk about some either subtle discoveries, my concerns, you guys get to voice your concerns. I want this to be kind of a part of the Team Spyro thing, because if you guys don't know, I have received a package that says that I'm a part of Team Spyro, and and as a member of being said, Team Spyro, it may not be as serious as some people think it is, and I probably am making it a little bit more serious than it probably needs to be, but I do want to take it seriously. So what I want to do is I want to do a weekly Yap Sesh to be able to make sure that we can get direct feedback from people, that if there are things that come up that are either concerning or encouraging, that we can vocalize and let Toys for Bob know and let people know about these things, so that we can kind of have an open board of communication, because we want this to be the best Spyro possible. That's the big thing. We got a 20 Saudi Arabian Royals donation from Abdullah Baran. Hi CG, do you think having some Crash villains in the new Spyro game is a good idea? Example, Cortex and Uka Uka. I'm leaning towards no. So, okay. I'm leaning towards no. I want this to be, if there was anything in terms of involvement from Crash, I would love for him to maybe have like a little side level or side mission, or an Easter egg. That would be cool. It'd be cool if there was like a Wampa Islands type of gig, and you got to maybe play as Crash for a small section, or a reference to Crash or whatnot. That would be cool. Or even if Spyro's gameplay goes like Crash Bandicoot 4 style, where it's kind of plays like Crash Bandicoot 4 short section, and it's tongue in cheek. That would be funny. Okay. So, let me get through a few things first, and I'll be reading donations as they come in as well. But I will be trying to keep track on my my thoughts, because it's going to be easy for my thoughts to get derailed. So if I delayed reading a donation, please do not take offense. It's just that once I get going on a train of thought, I need to finish the train of thought, and then I will read the donation. As is, we got $25 donation from Sean. Hey, thanks for joining me on my lunch break. LOL. Gameplay kind of reminds me of the Spider-Man 2 wingsuit, catching updrafts and boosts, which is so fun. If you guys want, and I'm going to actually show you guys something that I think is going to be a very good comparison. So, also, we're not going to be doing a Spyro Yap Sesh this Saturday because we're doing it today as the initial reveal. But not this Saturday, but next Saturday and every Saturday going forward, unless otherwise stated, we're going to be doing a 1 to 2 hour Spyro Yap Sesh starting at noon each day and going for 1 or 2 hours. We might adjust the timing a little bit depending on events. So keep in mind for the Spyro, the YouTube tab, I will let you guys know if any updates happen in that regard. So do a sub check because we are 66 subs away from hitting 89,000. We blasted through 88,000, which is awesome. Okay, so before I begin, I need to clarify something as well. So if you guys were in the live stream yesterday, you guys probably won't need to hear this, but for those who only saw my live reaction and just that clip and nothing else, I kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit. So in my haste to be able to post a reaction, and of course with the nature of reaction videos, sometimes you don't have context involved. And one of the things I had said in previous streams that what I didn't want to say was me pounding my chest and say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, why did no one believe me, blah, 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 blah. And I said that in previous streams that I didn't want to say that because that's not how I felt. However, in yesterday's stream, you did hear me say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, blah, 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 blah. And so people are like, oh, well, I thought, some people are upset. How you doing, my favorite purple Canadian nerd? I'm so excited to see the new game. I need this game now. I know. Thank you so much, Hannah. And yes, I agree with you. So the context to that, to clarify, was that when we were watching, there were people that within the first 5 minutes of gameplay from Gears of War on the first hour, okay, we weren't even into the second trailer yet, and people were already throwing a flag, saying Spyro's not going to be here, oh, we might as well give up now, this is happening, that's happening, oh, stop, oh, here we go again, and giving up. And then as the stream went on, people were dooming the whole time. There were people that were doing doom and gloom all the way, and I said, hey guys, it might be at the end, okay? And it was just doom, nothing but doom and gloom, doom and gloom, doom and gloom. And I had said at one point in the stream, I said, listen, there's some people that are saying, I'm leaving, it's not going to be here. And I turned and I said, hey, if you leave, I said, have hope and wait to the end, because if you leave and Spyro is here, you're going to feel like a fool, you're going to feel like an idiot. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hang on. Hang on until the end. I said, if it's not here, then you can have your doom and gloom. But let's not do that until the end, and let's wait. And then I repeated similar messages throughout the stream like that. And then when it showed up, I said, I told you. And the reference wasn't, I've been talking about this game for years, and I told you it was going to happen. It was, I told you to hang out for the stream. But I take blame for shooting myself in the foot a little bit, because as reaction videos are, you don't typically post a 5 or 10 or 15-minute reaction to build context. You just kind of show, hey, here's the event, here's the thing, bang, boom, bum, here's a reaction, okay, and we're moving on, right? And in doing that, there was context missing from my reaction, and people were misinterpreting it on threads, on social media, and other places that I was saying, I told you so, because I'm very much well aware of how long I have been talking about this game. I am very much well aware that I've been talking about this game for a very long time, and I have been predicting, and I have been speculating, and I've been reporting, and I've been theorizing, and then it really locked down when Toys for Bob went indie, and then we got the report that that Spyro was in development, is when my whole content perspective shifted. And I remember the following Summer Game Fest, I was like, nope, they're not doing anything. I remember saying that we were entering Spyro era. Hi. Are those crackers? Yeah. 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 Where's Mama? Bathroom? Yeah. Okay. You want me to open those for you? Yeah. Uh-oh. You can only have a few, though, okay? You took them out of the box and everything, eh? There you go. Let's start with that, okay? All right. Continuing.
Did he walk in?
Oh, walked in. He was like, Dad. I was like, crackers. And I said, where's Mama? He's like, bathroom.
Yeah,
bathroom.
I just went to go to the bathroom for a second.
No, he barged in and asked for crackers. So I figured I'd crack it open. And yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
All right. That's Dan. For those who haven't been here for years, that's my youngest. That's Daniel. By the way, life update. I have 4 kids. For those who don't know. Okay. Anyone stuck around and in the context, feel bad that you're having to make this statement to everyone. It's all a part of. It's all a part of the deal. It's all part of the deal. What? Yes. Yes. I have 4 kiddos. 3 boys and a girl. Nick Shannon donating $2 super chat. CG is the most vindicated person. I wouldn't say most vindicated, but I would say that I felt very, very happy. I was just so happy about that. And thank you for the water, my love. Okay. So, let's dive in. So, there is a few things that I do, and I am going to be talking about. One of the main questions that a lot of people have been asking about is, where's Sparks? And that's a very, very, very good question, because I asked that question as well in the Q&A. And the answer that I got was not a full answer, but it was a, I'll give a tease to the video that I'll be talking about. It was implied that Sparks not being there has something to do with the plot. There's something... It would seem. I am not saying for certain. I'm not saying for certain. I'm saying that it was implied. It was implied that Spyro not, Spyro, Sparks not being there had some relevance to the plot. How much of the relevance, we don't know. But that was the kind of the elusive hint that was given, because the Q&A was very, very, very interesting. The Q&A was very interesting. It was a lot of information and not a lot of information at the same time, because it's a lot of information. Any answer that you can get was a lot of information, but the problem was that it was limited in the fact of they couldn't sit down and talk about plot. They couldn't sit down and talk about certain things, but they did allude a little bit. So we're going to quickly, one more time, for the sake of it, for those who may be here and completely confused. I don't know how you'd be here and not know, but here we go. We'll watch the trailer one more time. Only 30 headlines? Only 30? I didn't feel back. It is. So, for those who don't know, there it is. For those who didn't see it. Now, we're going to go over a few more things as well. So, we're going to go over a few things that some people have been pointing out that ever since I did my analysis, that has been really interesting. So the first thing that we have found out is that there are creatures called the scavs. We're not sure. So it's specifically spelled the SCAV, scav. I got a feeling that might, I stole this idea from Lore of the Dragon. I got a feeling there's a reference there to scavenger in some of the sense. But we also seem to have gotten confirmation that this is a male villain because it's referred to as he. So then we have ACG Hype for Spyro sent you a few notes. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Did you send them over Discord? You did send it over Discord. So yeah, I say 3 fingers and a thumb. So birds here, but the new one's picture looks more like a huge bat. Okay. Otherwise, it's a really big bird looking in comparison to the house. As for the villain, you mentioned 3 fingers, but if you look closely, it has like a thumb as indicated. Right, well, 3 fingers and a thumb, right? Because a thumb is not a finger. That was my intention with that. Could be a dragon or Ripto species or Shadow Legacy guy. I did mention that, yeah, it looks like the sorcerer. Moves the white fade might be white crossfade. It makes me feel like Spyro just came out of a portal. There's also a jingle/warp sound effect. That might be marketing. Lots of things Spyro can shoot from the looks of the 4th image. Yes. Skulls rather than rocks. No, I would say that's actually not a skull, but something else. That's a statue. We'll go over more about that in a second, but I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We'll go over those as well. We got 5 euros from is it Dranaw? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Speculations think about Sorcerer, Red, or Malefor as antagonists. Some even theories the tower is the Sky Slinger from Superchargers. I wouldn't necessarily say that. Two-Tail Gamer doing $5 super chat. Hello, so glad that our Purple Boy is finally making his comeback. Thank you so much for the $5, Two-Tail Gamer. I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah. Saying a thumb isn't a finger, is not a finger, isn't just an invitation for water isn't wet type of debate. Yeah, I know. That's where it's kind of like, the one thing that they did that a number of us asked was, is this an open world RPG platformer? And the question was averted. The question was averted on all aspects. Like, is this an open world? We're not talking about that. Oh, is it a platformer? We're not talking about that. And it was like, so it was really weird to get a kind of like a statement on what the genre is. So I got a feeling that it's good that when you turn around and say, when you say, is it an open world? And if you say, it's a platformer, what you're getting is it's a mix. It's going to be a mix, right? If I were to sit there and say, is this a racing sim? They're going to say no, right? If we say, is it open world platforming RPG? They're going to say, that means it's probably a combo mix that they don't have necessarily a definition. And Two-Tail Gamer has been a member for 28 months. Woohoo! Thank you. So, so for people who are also, let me shoot this down because some people have been saying it. This is not an on the rails shooter, for goodness sakes. I don't know how or why I have to clarify that, but, so here's the thing, okay, is that it's not an on the rails shooter. For goodness sakes, it is not an on the rails shooter. I feel like that's I feel like that I shouldn't have to clarify that, but there's some people that are saying it's an on the rails shooter and that it's just a flying sim. No. It's just no. That's not what's happening. But still feeling high? Absolutely. But there is something I want to show you guys. And I did ask this before, and I was told not quite. However, I also think the question was perhaps misunderstood. I think it was misunderstood, my question that I had asked. If you guys don't know, bring Trouble with the Trolley back. No, 100%. Bring back Trouble with the Trolley. 100%. Bring it back. We need to have a trolley mission. Hold on a second. So I'm gonna show you guys something. I got so many things messaging, ringing and dinging and he-hang. Okay. So I want to show you guys something. Is anyone familiar with World of Warcraft? So if you're unfamiliar with World of Warcraft is one of the biggest, longest standing MMOs ever. Okay. And one of the things that when I was speaking with them, and one of the things that I had captured where this reminded me of Dragonflight. Now, not everybody understands what I'm talking about, so I'm going to show you a dragon flying World of Warcraft Dragonflight Dragon Riding 101 and how it works.
Firstly, it's important to understand that dragon riding uses
a momentum-based flight system. It's not like other MMOs where you just hit fly and you just move around like this. It's not like this at all. How it works is that when you jump and you dive down, you accelerate and you pick up air. And then you level out and allows you to be able to pick up speed. This isn't jump and then instant flight, right? And instant flight. There might be some aspect of that, but there's lift, drag, there's different things. And when I saw this it's called dynamic flying right now. Okay. So it's also called dynamic flying. That's another really good way to put it. So it's momentum. So there's going to be things, you're going on a constant downward, but you can use stamina to lift yourself up. You can use things to dash forward to give yourself a burst of speed, right? So, and what happens is it's all the same shared pool of resources. So you could choose to either dash or get height, right? So if you dash, you're not going to get height, but if you get height, you're not going to get speed. So, and you're constantly trailing down. So you have to get lift, you have to get up, and I do believe that this is going to be a very, very similar system. It's going to have a very, very, and most likely a very similar system. This is immediately what I saw because I had been playing. I played. This is my favorite expansion of WoW, and also has a Spyro reference in it. By the way, it has a Spyro pet. It's called Spyro Ghost, which is really cool. So yes, that is where people are. I wanted to bring people's attention to because some people were like, "Oh, it's a flight sim. Oh, it's a..." No. And also there was an article mentioned that there is going to be ground traversal and that there is going to be some aspects of platforming and stuff, but we don't know how it's going to be functioned. So, it's genuine flying mechanics because pure flight, just hit fly and being able to just whee is not, so much fun as some people might think. Initially might be fun and then it gets boring. HHG TV donated $2 Australian super chat. There's a 12-minute IGN interview with Toys for Bob. Yes. And I've been skimming through all these different things and picking some stuff up. Speaking of articles, there is a Kotaku article that has a release date that's starting to spread around, but I think most people are beginning to already have apprehension about that statement. They have a release date for June 29th, 2027. I got a feeling that is not accurate. And Tommy50 donated $5. Hey! I'm so late, but thanks for all the content inspiring us to never lose hope. Our boy is back. Our boy is back. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Tommy50. I appreciate that. Thank you. So, I got a feeling that it is a placeholder. Having said that, I want to bring your attention to something. In a world of gaming, when you have placeholder dates, in this world, it is almost now a 50-50 shot that it gets pushed back at least once. It's a 50-50 shot. And that, to me, is a kind of an indicator that, in my opinion, it may not be a full vote of confidence. If they just put 2027, that's even a less vote of confidence. But they're saying spring 2027. And to let you guys know, spring is considered as the summer solstice, which is like June. Is it technically June 23rd or June 20? In like partway, the third of the way through June is considered when we switch over to summer. So they have anywhere from January to partway through June 2027. Actually, no, not even, because January, February, March. What's the first day of spring? Is it March or April? I forget. Probably March, April. Anyway. I think it's March. I think it's around March. March. Yes. Thank you. So between March and June. So, right. March, April, May, June. Okay. So that's your ballpark. I'm going to say, be prepared to think fall 2027. Okay. Be prepared for a fall 2027. Because what we're probably going to hear is in March or May, we will get a trailer, or in December, we'll get a trailer, and it will give a more final date. And sometimes if you have a ballpark and then you just reveal the date, you can apologize later, right? So think fall 2027. If you set your expectations there and it does come out in spring 2027, be happy. But mentally for me, I am putting it there so that we don't get super disappointed. Or like earliest summer, say summer 2027, fall 2027. If you put so I'm going to say between June and September, October 2027. That's where I'm going to say. Even though I understand and completely believe that they have a plan. I saw the donation. Don't worry. I'm going to make sure I talk about it. That they have a plan to release by summer 2027 or spring 2027, and admirable and exciting and super hyped. Absolutely. And I believe they are targeting that. My thought is, with today's environment, will they? And it's okay. So that's where I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Nick Longo donated $2 super chat. Chances Stuart Copeland will be doing soundtrack. I got a feeling Stuart Copeland's got to have some sort of involvement, at least a little bit, right? So that's where I'm saying, hey, don't have your heart set as to spring. Don't have your heart set there. Because and also, let me be frank, in the last decade, how many Activision games have been delayed? I can tell you. 1. Can you guess which one that is? It was Spyro Reignited. And it was delayed by 2 months, right? Do you see what I mean, right? Not saying that Toys for Bob doesn't have a good track record, just that, hey, if there is some kind of, you know, if there, I believe, to my knowledge, via Activision, developed by Activision Studios, not published, purely developed by an Activision studio or an Activision-based IP, and already publicly announced with a release date, Spyro was the only delay. So, that's my thoughts. I've noticed a few comments here, one specifically, about why they, why can't they, why not this year? And I'll be very adamant and blunt. Let them cook. Just let them cook, right? I would rather have a Spyro game that is excellent, that then is the precedent to be able to turn around and say, here's more Spyro games because of 6 months of extra development, versus a little bit underbaked and not landing as well because there were things that were missed. Just let them cook. It's not like 2029. If they were like, yeah, we're coming out in 2030 or 2029 or 2028, I'd be like, okay, why? But it's only 6 months. We're good. Just let them cook. Let them cook. Finesseful J donating $5 super chat. Any thoughts on why it wasn't called Spyro 4? Also, Banjo and Blink's next. I hope Banjo blinks. Well, Bubsy came back, so that's that's one thing. Okay. So, man, I was thinking like, man, because I was like, oh man, what haven't I talked about? And I was like, maybe I'll write some notes down. And I realized, oh man, we are filling up the time already. So we can wait. I can wait. I can chill. We can step back. We can just chill. We can chill. We don't need to wait. Waiting 6 months on the level of gaming, an additional 6 months is not a problem. Is not a problem at all. Now, why is it not called Spyro 4? Okay. Take this as me talking. I am not talking on behalf of the company. I am not talking on behalf of Toys for Bob. I did not ask this question at the Q&A. So understand what I'm saying within context. I believe that it may have been interpreted that Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time was, oh my gosh, Elena with the donation in the stream thus far with a $50 donation through Super Chat. Oh gosh, my voice has been a little bit funny. I wonder why. There's video evidence as to why. Thank you so much, Elena, for the $50. $50. Spyro Merch Fund. Have fun. Even if they don't release it in May, this is still a great birthday present from TFB for Mom, Enoch, and I. Thank you so much. And I also say hi to your grandma as well. Even if she's not there, we say hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Elena, for the $50 super chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You guys' support is what allows me to be able to continue to do this full time. I do appreciate it. I am going to be starting to reopen my Patreon stuff. I've still always had a Patreon, but it's been up and down. I am opening that back up, so if you want to check it out, there's a link in the description below. And if you want to donate through the link in the description below, I get a bigger cut that way, if that's where you want to donate. But of course, donations are never required, but simply are appreciated. Thank you, everyone, for the support. Now, to continue through, there was a thought that people have been saying about this villain, the villain that we saw with the four fingers and everything. There was something that was really, really, really interesting that someone pointed out, that there's a laugh. There's a laugh in the trailer. I think we can just pull it up real quick. We can pull it up. If you listen carefully, take a listen. Okay. You heard that. You know what? I do need to finish my thing about Crash 4. I lost my train of thought. I apologize. Let me say this bit and then I'll finish my bit about Crash 4. Sorry, I apologize for my mind jumping all over. One of the things that I've heard is that some people are saying that this is Mark Hamill. Now, I've heard people say that sounds like Mark Hamill. And after listening to it, while I can't disagree. I cannot disagree with that. I can't disagree. But we have to be careful here. Because if it is Mark Hamill, Dylan Rose, I'll answer that in a second when we transition to about Crash 4. If it is Mark Hamill, we now have a thought of, while this is A New Evil Rises, we already had Mark Hamill at one time being a Spyro game, and that was Malifor. Now, I made a video recently where I was ranking which characters should come back for Spyro 4, and I said that Malifor should come back as the overarching villain. Like, maybe not necessarily back for the first game, but back as like the bigger boss. Like, you have the bosses, and then you find out, oh, these were the minions to this guy, right? It's the Burning Legion and then the Sargeras type of, situation. It's the That's No Moon, the Vader and Palpatine. You got the subject, and then you get the bigger, the sorcerer and the Malfor, right? So yeah, that is thank you, Juice Loose, for the $10 super chat. Just watch your PAX presentation and you were so nervous, but you pulled through anyway. Well done. Be proud and be brave. So brave. Obviously, so excited about A Realm Beyond as well. Thank you so much for the 10 Australian dollars, Juice Loose. I appreciate that. Now, Two-Tail Gamer donated $5. Hot take: the final boss is Ripto, but older and taller because of ether magic. I don't think so, I don't think so. I think it's a new villain. I think it's going to be a new villain overall. Thank you for the $5. Dylan Rose donated $5 for super chat. I find it interesting TFB referred to this as the next chapter. It makes me wonder if they're planning on a new trilogy with a new connected story. Okay, so I'm going to tie this back to a question that was asked earlier that I stopped halfway through because my brain is currently mush. And that is, why is it not called Crash, or why is it not called Spyro 4? I think with it being called Crash Bandicoot 4, inherently, you are cutting off a lot of Crash's, you're cutting off a lot of Crash Bandicoot's legacy. Because while, yes, there is mixed reception among the legacy of Crash Bandicoot beyond the original trilogy, whether you want to talk about Wrath of Cortex, even Twinsanity, Tag Team Racing, and then, of course, the thing that everyone talks about and complains about, the Mind Over Mutant, or the Titans Crash. That is something that there are people that are fans of that. And when you call it Crash Bandicoot 4, even if in story it kind of acknowledges that there are other Crash Bandicoot stories and legacy going on, it does, on first glance, garrotes and just chokes out a large portion of the legacy of the franchise. If you call it Spyro: A Realm Beyond, it is ambiguous. It could be like, yes, but also no. And it allows you to be able to pick and choose what you want, and for basically Spyro to be able to have an all-you-can-eat buffet of where to grab from source material from, and not have to be contingent on a number, right? So that they're not beholden to a number as to where this happens within the main story. Having said that, there is a focus on Reignited. There is a focus on Reignite and the original trilogy. So one of the things that I will say, that I will expand more about in my next video. I'm not going to talk about here because there's a few times where I say something and people go and they report on it, and it's not quite full context. So I want to make sure that I give a tease so that people can think about what I'm saying, and then I give the full context about it later. Thank you for the 50 NOK. Temp Spyro. I'm curious if the game will manage to make every Spyro game canon since you think about it. That's very possible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Here is where I will say this, is that Spyro Reignited was a springboard for this game. That there were seeds sown in Reignited for this game. Not my words. That was at the Q&A. But there's also going to be things from other legacy titles shoveled in as well. So I want you to think that you have the original. So my take on what they said, this is my take, okay? My take on what they said is that you have the original 3, and that is going to be a loose base for this game. It's a new chapter, and the events of the first 3 most likely happened and or will be referred to. But, and that's the core, but the legacy titles of the surrounding games are included as well. So that's going to be, so that is going to be something that they wanted to focus, and that they want to focus where it's like, it's a Spyro-led game. It's a Spyro game, right? It's a Spyro smoothie. Sure, it's a Spyro smoothie, and it's a strawberry banana orange smoothie with mostly strawberries, and the strawberries is the original trilogy, and the banana and orange is the least amount and the smallest amount, and thrown in at the end. So Sebastian Bannock doing $2 super chat. Think Spiral Realm Beyond will be good in Japan? I hope so. I mean, I unfortunately, Spyro has a bit of a sullied opinion there due to the original trilogy. However, Reignited, I believe, sold half decent in Japan. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there because there was something else, but I'm going to stop there and I'll talk about it in my other video. What else? Here, let me cross off some of the things that I already spoke about so I'm not rereading or repeating myself. We're good on that. We talked about the loose release dates. Kotaku putting a bit of a loose date on that. Mark Hamill. We'll get to there. We talked about that. We talked about that, and we talked about that. Okay, great. Now I can be able to talk about more and to kind of push it a little bit further off the point that I just spoke about there being a bunch of legacy titles. There was a really funny question in the Q&A that then translated into something that was actually kind of powerful, and it was, there's a lack of sheep. Why is there no sheep? And it was literally joked about with Lou Stuttered specifically, where he said while we can't expand more up and talk about sheep, it would be remiss of us to not include sheep in the game. So of course there are going to be sheep in a Spyro game. But he also expanded and said that they want to be they are stewards of the Spyro. They want to be stewards of the Spyro franchise. They want to be the Toys for Bob wants to be the people that, we all look to be stewards for the franchise, so that when a new game comes out, we feel like at least a portion of fan bases are represented in this game. The Legend donated $5 to Super Chat. Do you think it could still take place in Ripto's original realm? Perhaps the villain is the same species as him. Hope we get to rescue more dragons. I hope we get to rescue more dragons too. I don't know. It would be cool. It would be cool if we got some sort of reference to Ripto in some sense. But I also I don't want to deal with Ripto himself or like a minion of Ripto. I would like to be able to deal with someone who's completely separate. But if there is some reference to Ripto, I think that would be really cool. Thank you so much for the $5, The Legend. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Toys for Bob, they want to be these stewards. They want to be that. And they want to feel that all Spyro fans will find joy in this. I got a feeling that they want to make this game so that anybody who has played any Spyro game or maybe hasn't played any Spyro game can just hop right in. They don't need to play any of the previous games, but also for vets who have played every Spyro game and know every nook and cranny and know every lore story. The other thing that I have heard is that the story is going to be core and based around a coming of age story of Spyro, where this villain's going to push him and he's going to have to go beyond and not just be a plucky kid, and that he has to learn how to be a little bit more of an adult. So there is going to be a coming of age story aspect to it, which is, it's a classic story trope that's been around since the ancient Greek myths and still happens today. And even the best stories are, coming of age stories. So that's kind of, what I had read that is going to be a coming of age story for Spyro. There was a question that was asked to me over on social media that I actually really liked that I want to quickly answer. 1 second. It was this. Do you think there'll be one big open sandbox, or is it a bunch of smaller open zones like Sonic Frontiers? Which of the two would you prefer? Now, I actually spoke about this either in a video, on stream, and or both. I can't remember which one, but I had said that I felt that the open world kind of functioning similar to Sonic Frontiers would be really good, but trading off sizing for certain things, because Sonic Frontiers has these massive big home worlds and these small little levels sprinkled out. And my thought would be really nice is that if we shrunk down those home worlds and then made those little small levels bigger. Because one of the things that Toys for Bob also claimed, because it's a question that I asked, is that Spyro has a diverse... One of the best things about Spyro is its environment. Having... I made a connection at one point where you're at a rolling plains of grass, and then the next level you're literally on a river made of honey, and then you're in mountains, right? Like, so these diverse and crazy levels are part of the charm of Spyro, which is kind of like you don't know where you're going to go next, right? And it was expanded in interviews and in the Q&A that they understand that, and that there are going to be a diverse amount of environments and things and places for Spyro to explore and do. So I think that is a really, really, really good way to put it, because we need those diverse environments. We need to make sure that it's fun, right? So, I don't want it to be exactly like Sonic Frontiers. Let me be clear. I don't want it to be exactly like Sonic Frontiers. But the foundation and core thought of hub world with a bunch of smaller worlds, but not as big as Sonic Frontiers, because I do agree Sonic Frontiers was fun, but it felt really empty at times. And my favorite parts were the in-between parts. That was my favorite part. Being out in the open and the big thing, it was too big. It was too big for me. I wasn't crazy about it. But I liked the Shadow expansion a lot better than the original core game. I loved the Shadow expansion because I felt that was more focused, and that's kind of what I'm hoping. And what I'm hoping for is bigger levels, but those hub worlds, those whatever they are, aren't as big as Sonic Frontiers. That's my that's kind of my thought. Portals might return. We don't know. Hey, Meta Winter, how's it going? Okay. So we covered that. We covered this. We're gonna get the dedicated Q&A section of the video in a second. So I'm gonna cover two last things, and then we talked about Sparks earlier. Don't worry, I am going to be doing a video just diving deeper into this and more concise and more diving deeper into some of these things. But of course, being live, I can't do that right now, but I do want to be able to interact with you guys and talk with you guys and hear your concerns and hear your worries and stuff. But what was the first words to yourself when you received the chest? You saw it on if you look at the live reaction, it was kind of what I said. It was just be Spyro. That's just be Spyro related. That's it. Yes, gems are coming back. We already highlighted that as well. There were gems in the trailer. Yeah, if you look at my analysis that I posted last night, like I said, we're on the chaos schedule now. And chaos schedule is when the video is done and when the video is done and it's not 2 a.m., it goes live. Right? It's not going to be, we're going to wait for around 10, 11 o'clock on Thursdays or Fridays to see if there's a video from CGE. No, it's going to be, hey, it's done. What time is it? 2 o'clock? Goes up. Done. Ship it. That's kind of going to be the thought and intention there. So the two things that I do want to talk about is going to be a little bit, it's still related to Spyro, but it's going to be more related to Toys for Bob. And one of the things that they've spoken about in interviews, but they also spoke about in the Q&A, was that Paul Yan stated that them being a part of Activision, that in 2022 there was a mandate for other games, and those other games was Call of Duty, Warzone, and Overwatch 2. And while they were proud of the work that they did on it, it was not what they were hired for, and it's not what they wanted to do. And if you guys also remember, there was a massive exodus at Toys for Bob after Crash Bandicoot. And what I heard, this wasn't said in the Q&A, what I had heard was that because of COVID, post-COVID, because you have to think now we're in 2021, 2022, post-COVID, that Call of Duty was starting to fall apart, and they needed one team, they needed Raven or one of the other teams to step up and take over and help develop, but they needed someone to help with Warzone, and so Toys for Bob was regulated, and according the words that Paul Yan said in the interview, was mandated to take care of that. And they were like, this is not a fit for us. This is not good. Now, of course, they were able to break away to do Rumble, but they essentially didn't want to ever have to do that again. Because, again, there was a mass exodus of people, artists, those layoffs, and what happened with Crash Bandicoot 5, et cetera, et cetera. It was all just kind of wild. It was all kind of like wild. So they saw the opportunity to be able to, while talking with Xbox, to spin off and be able to get back their identity and to make sure that they're never beholden to have to be mandated to stop working on something that they love, to have to go work on something that I will put words in their mouth and say that they most likely did not enjoy. I'll say that lightly. I'm not going to say that they said that, but I am contextually putting words in their mouth and saying that they did not enjoy working on that. I think am I going to get, I don't think I'm going to get, flack from people of terms of accuracy for saying that. So I don't think that people are going to get mad at me for stating that they were not enjoying their work about that. So that was when they saw the opportunity. And then they asked, when did Spyro 4 go into development? That was the... And here's the funny thing about development is that the funny thing about development is that, because I've had conversations about this with employees in the past, both people that you know, people that you don't know, is when do you consider hardline development? Is it when it's pitched? Is it when the first piece of concept art is made? Is it when the funding comes in? Is it when does development officially start, right? And because if you pitch it and it doesn't get approved, okay, did development start and then stop? Did it get approved but the funding not show up? Is that started but stopped? Where is the hard line of we have started development, and the hard line that you can kind of get to the bottom of the, like, hey, this is where we can draw the line and say this is where we started. It was February 2023 when they declared that they were indie. When they declared that they were indie, which was in February it was 2023 or 2024? No, it would have been 2024. February 2024 is where they said the hard line of where it started. Now, I said in my report, my initial report, that development started between, it was December, January, and I did hear February. And I said that in the video. I also heard November, because I heard November, I heard December, I heard January, and I heard February. So I just lumped it down to December, January. But we have evidence to suggest that the pitch was in December. That the pitch was in December, and then we had January, February, and when they were approved to be indie was boom, is when the hard line of development that you can say happened. So I would still say that my initial report was accurate. I would still say that my initial report was accurate of me saying that the game is now officially in development, period, no questions asked. But I wanted to give clarification because I want to give a record of what I said. And then because we found out what happened, because we found out what officially happened, okay, here is what I said and here's what happened. And I don't think people are going to flog me for, I said between December and January and it happening in February as a hard line, even though there is evidence of it being pitched. So you can, be that as it may. Of course, some people will still want to string me up for that, but it doesn't matter. So, Dylan Rose, donated $5 super chat. I hope there is a finite number of gems like the originals. There was always something so satisfying about finding all gems in every level. I agree. I hope there's a finite. I think that if you have, someone mentioned earlier, but I think if you have gems, you gotta have money bags in some way, shape, or form. I think that would be really, 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 really funny. So, okay, we are now at the Q&A section of the video. So we are here now. So if you guys have questions, I'll take them. And then if you have concerns, I will jot them down as well, and look at it and see if I can find a way to be able to present those concerns, or find a way to be able to communicate to people, hey, this is the concern that fans are having. Is there a way that we can figure out a way to either suppress them, fix them, adjust, or what? Not suppress. That's a bad word to use. Not suppress. Is there a way to, if we have concerns from fans, is there a way to be able to see how we can address? That's the word I was looking for. Not suppress. Address. See, slip of the tongue. I don't want to suppress people's concerns. I want to address people's concerns. I want to be clear about that. So let's start with some questions that some people have, because there have been a lot. CG, are you excited about the new flight mechanics? Yes, I very much am. If it's anything close to Dragonflight, WoW Dragonflight, I will be very, very happy. I would be very, very happy. Let's start with questions first, and then we'll get to concerns, because if everyone's throwing their concerns all at once, I'm not going to be able to, and questions, I'm not going to be able to keep track. So let's start with questions. Do you think photo mode would be a possible feature? I think the game would be perfect for photo mode. That's a really good question, and I think that would be something that should be a thing. Flat out. I love cinematic tools anyway. I love cinematic tools. So so having photo mode would be a really, really, really good idea. Let's see here. Will Crash Bandicoot make a cameo in the game? I think that's possible. I think that there's going to be some sort of cameo. I don't know, but I think that that's pretty, like, that's on the realm of highly plausible. In the trailer, we hear Evil laugh, which sounds a lot like Uka Uka. Could that be possible? I don't think so. Again, it was connected to it sounding very similarly to Mark Hamill, but we're going to sit and see and figure out, which, by the way, is a full roundabout way, because, as I mentioned before, he voiced Malifor, and they botched his voice so bad, and it was so terrible. And I feel like that this is Toys for Bob redeeming Mark Hamill and saying, hey, we're going to fix this. You're going to be back as the villain again, but we're going to make sure that your voice is not twisted 8 times a Sunday. Shrock Boy, do you think it will be a majority flight based, or will it be a nice balance of platforming and flight? I think the gameplay was so short. Wish they showed more, but I know. I do kind of wish that there was a little bit more. I wish that there was. I understand they're having a focus. They're having a focus on something very different. They're taking the advertising a little bit different than what I initially thought. I thought that they would want to show off something that was like, hey, it's like the originals with a little twist, and then expand more about it like they did with Crash 4. They were like, hey, it's like the original Crash, but also there's some new wacky masks that do some weird things. And then as the development went on, they're like, okay, you can also play as Tana, you can also play as Dingo Dial, you can also do these inverted levels. And so they did like, hey, here's what you know first, and with a little twist, and then also here's the additional add-ons that are a bit different than the original core. They're starting with like, hey, here's what's different. And I feel like a lot of OG fans are apprehensive, but there is a cachet of trust with most fans because of how well Toys for Bob did with Crash Bandicoot 4 and the Reignited trilogy. So fans are just like, okay, I trust you, Toys for Bob, to cook. I'm going to be excited. It looks good. But there is an air of concern for those who are like, okay, what's going on here? So they are taking a marketing beat that I didn't expect, but we'll see how that goes. I think that Skylanders elements should be involved in terms of like just some NPCs, but for it to not be like, hey, this is Skylands. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. We're going to start this. I'm going to start this feature. And I do apologize if, we're going to go with, we have live chat. If you have a question, this is not for concerns. If you have a question, there's a Q&A that I have. What questions do you have? Throw it in there, and it'll be a lot easier for me to read. It'll be so much easier for me to read. It'll be so much easier for me to be able to get through and not lose them, but only if you have questions. So we do have a questions tab, a Q&A tab that we have. So hopefully we can we ask more than once? Sure. I wouldn't sit down and like start typing, 80 questions, but you can ask a few questions and then we can start going through. What is the ideal length for the new game for you? I like the idea of I love the idea of the main game maybe being like 20-30 hours, and then for you to 100% it to be a lot more, so that it's like, hey, if you want to focus on the main missions, 20 20 hours, 30 hours, very much like the Insomniac Spider-Man games. I think that those are a really good blueprint. I think those are a lot of fun. I think the Spider-Man games are a really good blueprint for those single player types of style of games with massive traversal and stuff. I think that that's a really fun way to look at it. And I think using that as a blueprint would be really good. I wouldn't want a 120 hour main story Spyro game. No, I think that I would really like a nice 20-hour story, 30 hour story. But then if you want 100% it, let's go, your 40, 50, 60 hours to be able to 100% and get everything and do everything and all the stuff. I think that would be really, really cool. That would be fun, and I would enjoy that. All right, let's go to the questions tab real quick. What are your thoughts on having other playable characters like Spyro in Spyro 3? This was not clear. I think that the way that it's set up, the only way you could have other playable characters would have to be Cinder. Because at least there was a source of commonality when it came to that there was at least a source of commonality in Spyro 3 between a lot of the characters, whether it's the running and the jumping and stuff. But because the introduction of that big flight, I think that being able to switch between characters would have to be regulated to dragon-esque characters, i.e. Cinder, Ember, or whomever would be included in that category. So, and it has to make sense to the story. Do you think any returning characters will be features? Moneybags, Hunter, Sparks? Yes, I think that you have to bring back Sparks. I think you got to bring back Moneybags. Hunter, I would say you probably should, in some sense, bring back Hunter. And I would love to see Alora as well. I hope that we see them come back. There's no guarantee for that. Co-op mode, while that is been confirmed to not be happening, it is a single-player exclusive Spyro game. There is no, as far as what's been reported thus far, there is no, it's been kind of confirmed that it is a single-player game. Now, could there be couch co-op? Or maybe couch co-op introduced later, or whatever? I don't know, but as of right now, all the news outlets are reporting that it is a single-player experience. So keep that in mind. Who's Spyro? He's my cousin. Do you think Spyro will ever start out gliding and slowly upgrade to flight over the course of the game? It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like that it's going to be a pretty key element for the game. Do you think they'll make a more serious villain in the game than the previous games? I don't know, but if we are going to go through a coming-of-age story, Spyro is going to have to be challenged. So if Spyro is going to be challenged, then that means he has to be able to overcome. These problems and issues. So in order to be able to do that, it would be really hard for him to be able to overcome these issues. Being a kind of a jokester, being like a jokester himself, you have to foil that with somebody who's a bit more serious. To kind of alter your question there, main V8G, I think that we need to see new characters, new allies too. I think that if we just have nothing but old characters, I think that you're kind of squandering the creativity. I think you need to have more new characters. I think that would be really cool. I kind of talked a bit about Cinder a little bit. I don't know if there's going to be other dragons because it's been confirmed that Spyro is stuck in another realm. Does that realm have dragons or not? We don't know. Maybe some areas will have dragons or things similar to dragons. Again, that's going to be all dependent on plot. I don't want other things just jammed in for the sake of jamming them in. Was there a particular time where you doubted the new Spyro existing overall? Not really. I knew... My problem was I couldn't see a certain speed bump. And at the end of the day, it may have been more of a blessing than a curse, because it may have been, part of the hard-headedness of pounding that drum that may have even just nudged something, right? So that's up for debate. Do you think the game will include multiple endings? Also replacing the originals in TS? I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't think that we're gonna have some multiple endings. Typically ties to like a morality meter. You might get 2 endings. You might get the main ending and then the 100% ending. I'm okay with that. But if you have multiple endings, that typically is tied to a morality. And I got a feeling that we're not going to be having the potential for an evil Spyro over an evil and destructive Spyro versus a heroic Spyro. I think that there's going to just be probably a main ending and then a 100% ending. I still think Dark Spyro should be involved as well. Can we see Spyro have other elements, breaths, attacks that we've seen in the Legends? I don't know if there would be other elements and breaths, but I do think that having other elements for traversal would be fun. Like, and you see him gliding, it'd be cool if the electric element was for dashing, so that he can like do like a blink. That would be really cool. Is this targeting only core Spyro fans, or is this a fresh start for everybody? I think that this is going to be an in-between where it's yes and yes. I think it's going to be for diehard Spyro fans and for those who may not know what's going on. They could pick it up and not be left out of the dark. I think that would be really cool. And the nice thing about Spyro's story is that, for a lot of it, you don't need to be able to have like a lore drop of a book that big. It could be very basic, and you could be able to catch people up really quickly if need be. Thoughts that we'll be able to swim and go underwater? I would say probably, because I mean, Spyro's done it before. Spyro's done it a number of times. I think that you're kind of limiting yourself if you say no to underwater, which would be really cool if there's some sort of interesting underwater traversal. Because if we got some new way to traverse in the air, what about traversing in the water? That would be cool. What characters would you like to see come back in the new Spyro? I think your core. I would like to see at least a representative of Spyro 1. So I'd love to see like Nestor come back. I think that would be really cool. But also I think you gotta have the Professor, Allura, and Hunter. I think if you have those 3, you are pretty much set. Bianca, if she can be involved in some way. I'll stay there, because if you start introducing more than just that, you're gonna start getting people. Like it's too many characters, and it's just bringing back for the sake of nostalgia, right? And Moneybags should come back too. We got a 20 Czar super chat. Elements from Hero's Tale for real this game. I maybe like the Dark Crystals aspect where there's corrupted bits of land. I do think that's possible, because we are seeing a very a large focus on crystals and gems and corrupting. So we might see some aspect of that. Thank you so much for the 20 Czar. I appreciate that. Got a few more questions, and then we're going to go to concerns, because I do have to be wrapped up by 1:45. There is an appointment my wife has to make, so I have a hard cut at 1:45. So I think that I thought they were birds, but if they are bats, that would be really intriguing. The statues, it tells me that there is some sort of like old world there, and there being an old world is something that is really, really, really nice, and really like involved, and I think that that's awesome. We're focused, by the way, we are focusing on Spyro stuff today. We're not talking about Crash Bandicoot, not today. It's a Spyro Yap Sesh. Do you think the shooting flame will be in the whole game? I think that the shooting flame might be a thing that might be an upgrade. There might be like one button to do like a regular flame, and there's an upgrade where you can kind of make like a proton lock-on missile, like right, so you could have like a quick shotgun blast, short range, and then you might be able to upgrade to get an indicator to go pew pew pew. It'll be a long range but single target. I think that would be really cool. Are you happy with the new design of Spyro? Yes. The only suggestion that I have to change but I also think it has to deal with the fact that they use CGI, is that there are some angles of the new Spyro that look absolutely excellent, and some that are not as I don't want to say appealing, but it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not beneficial, not appealing, it's not doing him any favors. They're getting some bad angles. I do think his irises and eyes are a little small. I think that because someone did an edit and it looked completely better, when he got to the top of the clouds, his irises look off. They look a little too small. And then someone did an edit where they just made the irises a little bigger. And that was it. And it was fixed. That was it. That's all it needed, right? Some people are complaining about the eyebrows. Maybe pull them back a little bit. But again, the CGI trailer is not representative because you have to think the CGI can take a while to make. So you could have the CGI of this thing started working 6 or 7 months ago. And then by the time it gets to the final game, they may have already made adjustments to the model once more. So, and CGI is not the final model. I want to see what he looks like in game. I want to see what he looks like in game because that's what's going to matter, not the CGI. I want to see the in-game model. Once I see the in-game model, I'll be able to get a better read as to what he looks like. But if any adjustments needed to be made, it would just be such minor things, which Reignited did some adjustments too. They made some adjustments with Spyro's tail. That was like the big thing was the tail, and a few other things for between the pre-release Spyro and the new Spyro and Reignited. There was a few adjustments. I think there was an adjustment in color as well. Shadow Wolf Gaming donated $50 to Super Chat. Hello, you probably won't remember me, but I used to be known as Twin Peaks 3. I remember Twin Peaks. I used to donate to your live streams a lot. I'm super hyped for the new Spyro. Hope the best for you and your family. Thank you, Shadow Wolf Gaming. I do remember you, Twin Peaks. I do remember. There's a lot of old faces that I'm seeing come back, which makes me feel really, really happy. It makes me feel really, really happy. Okay, so do you have any of your own concerns about the game? Okay, so here, let me switch to live chat. Let's go back to live chat. So, hi everybody. If I missed a whole bunch of messages, I'm sorry. I was over on the question chat. Now I'm back to the live chat. We're closing down the questions. Now we're going to concerns. If I didn't get to your question, I apologize. There is almost 500 of you people, oh my gosh, 500 of you guys. You people, sorry, didn't mean to say it like that. I am very tired. Understand that I've the past week I have been working nonstop. Also today, a new video for Voidling Bound came out for today, and we're going to be doing a 12-hour stream tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow we are doing a 12. You people, yeah, no, I didn't mean it like that. I apologize. But we are doing a 12-hour stream tomorrow, not Spyro related. It is a sponsored stream via Voidling Bound. They decided to sponsor tomorrow's stream. We're going to be streaming, instead of doing a regular 4-hour stream that was originally scheduled, we're going to be doing a 12-hour stream, and Voidling Bound has sponsored it, and it is absolutely awesome. So let us talk about concerns. Let me tell you my initial concern. Habakuki donated 25 RON through Super Chat. Thank you. Is there any way the game will also launch on the SNES? You know what? I'll ask. As a member of Team Spyro, I will make the request of it launching on SNES. Okay. So let me give you my concern. My concern that I initially have is that there won't. One of the really, really, really nice things about the original Spyro games that I think that a lot of people that originally did Spyro got wrong is that its use of space. And I think Town Square, if you were to turn around and look and be like, what is a good example of a really good Spyro level, is Town Square. Because Town Square, if you were to level Town Square and just flatten it and remove all the obstacles, Town Square is not that big. It really is not that big. Town Square is, you can get from one end to the other end of the level really quickly. We got a Streamlabs donation. Thank you so much. It helps with the bar up here. I can't do the super chats for up here. It's been a thing for years. I can't get the super chats up here. But if you want to contribute to the bar up here, there's a donation link in the description below, and that helps me out as well. Dennis donated $2.31 through Streamlabs. A few years ago, I was thinking about an idea similar to Spider-Man No Way Home, where there is a multiverse portal open up to all versions of Spyro, Legend of Spyro, Skylander Spyro, and they all work to defeat the evil. Can you imagine all the possible cameos? It's a cool idea, but I think that people are starting to get tired of the multiverse idea because we have seen it a lot. We've seen a lot of multiverse stuff recently, and I think that even Crash dabbled in that, and even Crash kind of confirmed that. So I think people are just a little bit, I think some people are just a little bit tired of the multiverse idea, though it, of course, for lore and ideas, it is It's really good, but I think a lot of people are tired of the multiverse. But I do appreciate the support and donation. Thank you so much. So my concern is that when you open up the game, when you open up Spyro, when you look at Town Square has these layers. They have these layers that go on top of each other, and it's this so smart use of space. Insomniac were geniuses when they were putting these games together. And they said, we have this level of space, but we can go up, right? And we can create more with less. And it created this slightly puzzly idea of how do you get up here, and how do you get up there, and this is interesting. And you had to, and so Town Square is a really, really, really good idea for a really good example when you look at Spyro as a design and when you look at the stage design and stuff. And so my only concern is that when you branch it and open it up so much, you start to lose a little bit of that magic. You start to lose a little bit of that, hey, this is starting to feel more like Jak and Daxter now, or this is starting to feel more like... So I am concerned about that element. And I also don't want to be like the traversal in Sonic Frontiers. I don't want that either, because I think Sonic Frontiers for me was a little too empty for my liking. I thought Sonic Frontiers was like a fun concept, but if they were to actually like almost cut those hub levels in half, I think you actually make the game funner, which is kind of weird to suggest and say, but I do think that, it was just like, you're just kind of running around all over the place and everything, right? So I feel like if they had a bit more of a focus. So I'm worried that I don't want us to go to the bigger is better. I want to make sure that we get away from that. That's my only concern. My only concern is we don't want bigger, necessarily bigger is better, just more refined and focused. That's my concern. But of course, I don't want to, I want to make sure that we get this right. So that's my thoughts. So let us do some concerns. What do you use to keep your mustache in place so firmly? Zeus mustache wax. It is expensive and it is small, but you only need a little bit and it does wonders. It is my favorite. It is water-based, so all you gotta do is blast your face with water and it goes away. Because you could use a wax, but when you go to wash it out, you're literally you could be scraping it out, or you have to use lukewarm water and just wash. It takes a while to wash out, and you're pulling out hairs and you're losing little hairs, and it gets annoying and frustrating. And even after, and sometimes it also won't set right. So if you set it and you go out and you're breathing and you got some humidity, the mustache will start going, and it starts making you go from nice curly mustache to depressed sad stash. So it's a water-based. It's called Zeus mustache wax. Expensive, but you get a little. A tube that big will last me a year, maybe even more. Sometimes a bit more. And it's not. But that's why. So I spend $25 a year on my mustache, and it is fantastic. So, what a glowing recommendation. Yes, Zeus mustache wax. So, if you have any other concerns, is we lose the platform element a bit where we end up wide up with space. Yes, that is, we don't want, so, and I'll jot these down. I'm going to write these down too. I'm going to write these down as well. We don't want, it's too wide space, too wide. We don't want it to be too wide. We don't want that. I agree. We gotta make sure that it's not just big towers, right? Sad mustache noises. We all use Spyro's. Oh, come on, Skywalker, come on. They should sponsor. I would take that in a heartbeat. Here's the thing. My favorite thing about sponsors is when products I actually use ask me to sponsor them. They're like, hey, do you want to sponsor this? I'm like, yeah, I because I can back it up because I use it. That's my favorite thing. My favorite thing is when something that I actually use asks me this, like, hey, can we sponsor your channel? It's like, please. Please do. Please sponsor. I would love it. I use your products every day. So please do. It's like when Razer asked me, like, hey, do you? I'm like, yeah, I use a Razer product almost every day. Yeah, sure, no problem. That's fun. All right. Stuart Copeland. Is Stuart Copeland returning? I'll jot that down. Okay. So yeah, 2 wide spaces, no ground platforming. Okay. I don't think they're going to be having microtransactions. I think that's I think that, you know, the lack of bosses. Okay. So we kind of talked about the, but we'll go with bosses. We'll talk about bosses. I think we need better than Spyro 1 bosses. I will definitely say that. Game length, can't really talk about that because, I don't think there's going to be any skins. Like, I will write it down. Empty world, hoping there isn't a shop. There probably will be a shop. I mean, what are you going to use the gems for? Right? Money bags. I think money bags would be the shop, and money bags could be where you buy maybe upgrades or where you buy skins. I'm fine with that. That's fine, but not an actual, microtransaction. I would rather pay full price, the full 70 bucks, and have no microtransactions, right? If it's a discount and it's microtransactions for like little things, fine. Like, it's, if it's like, $2-3 for like the bonus edition and, or for the special edition, I'll grumble. But I would prefer just to not have that because there's lack of portal entrances like Spyro 1. Okay. I'll jot that down. Now listen, I have this to say I'm part of Team Spyro, and I know maybe it might be just a marketing term, and again, as I said, I might be taking it too seriously, but I am going to be jotting it down, and I will forward these to whatever contact is given to me. We got another 15 minutes before I have to wrap up, so let's continue with any concerns. No Legend of Spyro combat. Okay. So no button mashing. I still want Dark Spyro, but for it to just be an alternate version of Spyro and not like a separate Spyro. Not this is a good Spyro turned dark and it's the same character. I'm talking Spyro, our main character, Dark Spyro, bad character. 2 separate entities, in my opinion. No Kraken, because we already have seen in the background, you can see that there's a collection of gems in the background as well. We're not sure. We're not sure about there being a skill system yet, so we would have to wait. A Canadian guy NPC. I would love that. I can't write that down, but I would. Collection edition, yeah. Concern over AI. Okay. Earn over AI gen usage. We got a $2 super chat from Dylan Rose. Lack of level-based structure with collectibles. So that, again, that kind of goes back to the 2 wide spaces. But yeah, level-based structure. That's... That you see that a lot of people are having the same concerns as me, where it's hey, what's going on here, right? Performance optimization of possible bugs. I mean, that's kind of inherent. There's nothing like this game features bugs, right? It's that's implied. It was saying, we want to make sure that, it's like saying, I hope the game is good. It's like, well, yes, of course, that's implied. Bugs are not good, right? Things are unintentional, right? Dark Spyro being like Dark Link. Yes, thank you. These are concerns about the game. Skateboarding, okay. No orbs, please. Will there be voice acting in the overworld? I'll write that down. I'll put VO overall because Spyro is pretty, like, you know, he doesn't talk a lot in the original 3 games. It would be interesting to have him have a little bit more dialogue other than the first game. The first game. Are you concerned it won't sell well? No, I'm not concerned about that. Charge ramps, please. I don't hold your horses on the charge ramps because I may have I just recalled they may have mentioned charge ramps in the interview, in the Q&A. I can't remember though. I was jotting too many notes down. Also, just to let you guys know, just real quick, just for giggles and gags, just want to show you guys, we are super close to 89,000. So do a sub check. We got quite a few people in here. Do a sub check because we got 10 minutes left. Check if you're subbed because we might be able to hit 89,000 subs before the end of the stream, which would be amazing. That would be amazing. So, okay. But let's get back to the questions real quick. Back to here. There we go. Back to questions. Subject. Let's see here. Level diversity. Yep. Been subscribed in 2018. I almost felt like passing out yesterday when Spyro got announced. Did you pass out during the Spyro stream? You may be entitled. You may be entitled to compensation. Mini games. That is a good idea. I remember there being way too many mini games. Like, having mini games is fine, but good ones. Not just, hey, go collect 10 bear butts and bring it back. Good job, Spyro. Here's a trinket, right? And, you know, there's only so many times we do a bunch of go fetch me quests, right? It's, oh, go fetch me this quest, but also, you know, you have to do it without flight, and you have to do these things, like, you know, there should be mini games, but good mini games, not just mini games for the sake of mini games, not, you know, mini games for the sake of, hey, let's just pad this out. It's like, mini games that expand upon the gameplay and do something different, right? Yeah, good mini games, not just, here you go. Do you think the free play will impact the original platforming gameplay? I think it kind of has to, right? Alpha Dude! Donate $2 super chat. I hope it won't be too long before we hear more. Okay. All right, communication. Maybe we could get like a drip feed of stuff between waiting for the next update, because sometimes games get announced and then they go dark for like 6 months and then a new trailer comes out, right? Maybe we can get like a trickle feed of just like, hey, a little bit here, a little bit there. Each month we get a little update, a little bit of stuff. We get, you know, a trickle feed, and then boom, announcement, and then trickle feed, then boom, right? Which would be a lot of fun to do, right? Whether it's interviews, whether it's a screenshot, whether it's, you know, a featurette, whatever. To have a trickle feed in between announcements, because again, sometimes things get announced and then we don't hear anything for 3 months, and then something new comes out, right? So there should be at least just a little bit for people to be able to constantly remember, hey, this game exists. Hey, this, and it will also help us content creators be able to create content. Michael donated $2.79 through Super Chat. Characters from the OG trilogy appearing? I did write that down, yes. And thank you so much for the $2.79. We appreciate the support. Thank you. We got 5 minutes left before I gotta do a hard out where I am out because I gotta let my wife be able to go get her blood work done. I think Snickerdoodles, that is. Last moment for concerns. Hey, Alpha Dude. No blink. I'll write that down. No blink. No blink. Will it be a collector-thon? I would hope so. New here. Do you think the new Spyro will be similar to the old ones, like collecting-wise? I think you're going to have an inherent difference. By the way, welcome to the channel. Hi. I think you're going to have an inherent difference already when you introduce Free Flight, but I do believe that there are going to be collectibles. How much are there going to be? I don't know. I don't want it Banjo-Kazooie level. I do think the original Spyro games did a really good job on the collectathon aspects. I think you have your gems. I think you have your gems. You have your which are everywhere. You then have your dragon eggs. You have your orb. You have your orbs. And you have your talismans. Once you have those and you have them dispersed, I think that's what makes the original Spyro really good. And I think it's also what makes a lot of Banjo people that try Banjo and feel overwhelmed is because there's so many collectibles. So, I will put down collectibles and just make sure that it's, not Banjo. Because I do feel like that's a big critique for a lot of people is that Banjo can feel like there's just too much, that there's too much of it. Lord Rambo donated $5 to Super Chat. If Supercharge returns, then I hope it's like the first game, if not like Spyro 2 and 3. That would be cool. I wonder if there's going to be some involvement with Supercharge and then launching into a flight. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be cool? Thank you so much for the $5. I appreciate that. Dr. Gaming donated $7.29 AED through Super Chat. Here's something special donation from Dr. Gaming Nigel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dr. Gaming. Thank you. All right, we got final minutes. Final minutes before we wrap up. The Hayden donated £2 Super Chat. Do you feel the camera isn't as close to Spyro? That's probably because of the flight system. Because when you go super fast, you want the camera to be pulled back. Because when you go super fast, you pull the camera back so that you can see more and react better. Because if you go super fast and the camera punches in, you can't react as quick. So if you're only the 8 seconds that we saw, which I do agree, I wish we saw more. Even like, man, you give us 15 seconds, right? And not just of the flight, of like some of the ground traversal. That would be cool too. So I think that it would be really nice to be able to have, so when they're flying, the camera pulls back. It's an effect to be able to make it look like they're faster, and that it allows the player to be able to see more as they're going fast. And I'm sure that when Spyro slows down, the camera would just ease back in. Yes, thank you to everybody who's supporting the stream. We really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I like the opening and ending scenes in the second game where the levels could see how Spyro changed and help the characters in their worlds. That would be cool. I would like to see, like Spyro's impact, right? Off topic, but hey, thank you, Odyssey. Thank you, Auntie Odyssey for the $2 super chat. Off topic. Do you visit the Spyro subreddit? No. I don't. They're not a fan of me, and that's okay. They can have their space. I'm not going to intrude. I am not going to intrude on their space. I'm not going to post there. I only post there if I get something that genuinely is like, okay, this is an interview that kind of bolsters the entire Spyro franchise, and it was an exclusive for me, so I will post it there. If I get an interview that kind of goes over a lot of the things that have already been gone over in a media run, then I just, I don't post it. But if I get like an exclusive interview, I will post it in the Reddit and then just drop it and just run. Just drop and run. I am not welcome there. And you know what? I'm unfortunately not welcome there. I've been told that in private. I've been told that publicly. The amount of threads that have been spoken about for me. And I don't want to cause drama. I don't want to be standing there while everyone is looking at each other. I don't want to be standing in an area that I don't feel welcome in. And that's okay. That is A-okay. That is okay. I'm a public figure in a sense where I put my thoughts and opinions out on the internet. It's just the nature of the game. It's the nature of the game. It is what it is. That's what happens when you're a content creator. It's what happens. But it's also my choice to choose whether to be there or not be there. Right? That's the best part, is I can choose to not be there. If I go to the Spyro Reddit and I read some of the things that have been said about me, I get genuinely depressed. And I've gone down that hole way too many times. And to be very blunt and very clear, I have gone to the sometimes my name will pop up in Google search because I do like to see, because my favorite thing is when I get quoted for on like when someone quotes me for an article. I really like that, so I will type my name in. Of course, I'll type my username in and go to the news section and see if anyone's quoted me for stuff. And then sometimes I'll see a Reddit thread and I'm horrible to myself. I'll click it and then I will read it, and then it will just ruin my whole day. It ruins my whole day. And I'll sit there sad and depressed and won't get videos done. So it was years ago where I decided, like, I need to avoid this, because if I go over there, I will get genuinely medically depressed. So I avoid it. I just avoid it. It's, I hate it. I'm sad. I hate it. I'm sad. It sucks, but it is what it is. It's a part of the game. No one needs to say sorry. You don't need to say sorry. It's okay. I just avoid it. They can do their thing. They can say what they want, do as they wish, and that is A-okay. I'll stand over here. And if there are people who are in the chat who actively, frequently the Reddit, that's okay. That is okay. There's no problems with that. I got no issues. I'm also understanding that there are people that are more vocal over there, and there's a lot more people that just ghostly, just go through. And that's okay. That is A-okay. No problem whatsoever. I'll stand over here. I'll stand over here on my own little aisle, and I will, I'll stay here, and that's okay. And if they want to say whatever they want to over there, that's up to them. I'm not going to sit here and police what they say. I don't want anyone running over there and defending my honor. I don't want that. No, please don't. Don't, because if you go over there and try to defend my honor, all you're going to do is get more people angry at you. That's it. And then they're going to get more angry at me, and then it bleaks over to here. I'm happy in this space here. They could be happy in their space there, and that is A-okay. That is no problem whatsoever. So, we got 2 donations here, and then I do have to wrap up. Warhorse, $35. Do you think that some aspects of The Legend of Spyro will be included in the new game, like Cinder or Malifor, for instance? Thanks. I do think Malifor has a space for there. Cinder only if it makes sense. And I think when you have this momentum-based flight, you are going to inherently bring some aspects, because there was an attempt at... Listen, I love you, Legend of Spyro fans. I love you. I love you, Legend of Spyro fans. Dawn of the Dragon is not free flight. I'm sorry. It feels... Sometimes I'm playing the game and I feel like I'm trying to redirect a dog on a leash that has ADHD running around everywhere, and I'm just trying to direct its direction. It's not free flight, right? But there is elements of free flight in there that will inherently have to migrate because it's there by default, because of, free flight being a thing in Dawn of the Dragon. So, and Flawfulness. I have never heard of Flawfulness. Donate £5 to Super Chat. The interview with Paul and Lou, free flight game is what actually is to be a dragon. Super cool. Hope it's welcoming the OG players. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's like, hey, we can do that. So, okay, guys. So, that is going to be it for me for today. I am going to wrap this up, and let's take a quick look because I'm curious. Did we get it? Oh, we were so close. Chat, look how close we were. we were right there, though, probably in about 10 minutes. We might be able to hit it, but we were right there, but that's okay. That's a-okay. We'll get there very quickly, and I hope that we have this journey to 100K. That would be absolutely amazing. That would be so cool to be able to hit 100K and to be able to unbox that silver play button is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So 6 alts, yeah, nearly 80K, 89K. We're almost there, and then nearly 90K. If we hit 90K, yeah, mwah, so good. All right, so thank you all so much for watching today. We'll be. Yeah. Come on. It's right there. Come on. That hurts. There it is. Oh, geez. There it is. It popped. Great timing. Yes.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I know you got your appointment. I know you have it. You gotta leave at 2. That's why I'm wrapping up right now.
Awesome.
Okay. I love you.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I just walked in.
Woo! Good job. All right. You guys do your thing. So I'm gonna wrap it up now. Okay. Okay. We did it. Thank you. Thank you for fixing my hair. All right. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. We now just hit 89K. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we won't be doing a Spyro Yap Sesh this weekend, but we will be doing it next Saturday. And we should be doing it attemptively every Saturday afterwards. Now a whole bunch of people are just subbing now. That's awesome. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I'll see you guys in the next video and or live stream. Time for the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.